Papercraft friends, it's Lisa Walsh here. Welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a Mother's Day card with using just paper scraps. Paper scraps that you obviously and will have in your craft room hiding somewhere. Today I'm going to be using the MFT Sweet Stack paper pad. Now I've had this for a while and I've used quite a few pages, but I've still got quite a few left, so let's use some up. So what you need to do is allocate some paper that you would like to use for your Mother's Day card. I chose 3 different designs of paper and also created an A2 card base and also a random scrap of cardstock so that I could use that as my panel. Once I decided on the paper that I was going to use, I grabbed my paper trimmer and proceeded to create some paper strips. The paper strips I decided to cut at 1/2 inch in regards to width, but you want to make sure that if you've got a pattern on your paper, you definitely want to make sure that they will be going across the card in the right direction. So sometimes it helps just to align your paper up with your card base, just to check that you're cutting them in the right direction. I mean, the last thing you want is to cut them up only to realise they're the wrong way around, especially if it's your last piece of scrap paper in that style. And once you have your strips ready to go, just grab some tape runner or any adhesive that works for you and just apply the adhesive at the back of the strips. Now for me to align the paper strips correctly on the card panel, I decided to use my stamping tool, and I just put the card panel in the stamping tool with the help of the magnets, and the side of the stamping tool allowed me to align the paper strips correctly so that they're not wonky and that they are in a straight line. Now if you don't have a stamping tool, maybe you could use your craft mat in regards to your ruled lines to help make sure that when you're positioning your paper strips that they are aligned straight and correctly. Now another tip is to probably not use wet glue, as this can make the paper all wet and crease up and also wrinkle up as well. Once the card panel was finished, I used the MFT A2 Stitch Rectangle Stack Set 1 dies, and I actually used the second largest. And to help keep that aligned straight as well, I used my washi tape to hold the die down, and then I run it through my Big Shot die cutting machine. Now once I die cut it and looked at it against the card base, I decided that I wanted another frame, so I used a Lawn Fawn Ballet Slippers cardstock and run that through my die cutting machine with the larger stack set rectangle die. Once I adhered that to the card base, I then grabbed my card panel that I'd applied all the paper strips to and adhered that to the Ballet Slippers card base. I just felt that having a solid colour as the card base really helped the pattern paper card panel pop from the background just that little bit more. To create the sentiment, I used a Lawn Fawn Mother's Day border die, and I decided to use the Lawn Fawn Guava cardstock, and at the same time I also trimmed down a little bit of vellum, which was trimmed at 3/4 inch wide. Now I did cut 2 of the sentiments in my Big Shot machine, and I decided to adhere them together to give them a little bit more dimension and to pop up from the card panel. So with the vellum, I decided that I wanted to mute the pattern paper a little bit so the sentiment would be more prominent. So I adhered a little bit of adhesive to the back of the vellum and adhered that to the card panel. And once that was done, I then got the Lawn Fawn sentiment that I die cut and adhered it to the vellum. I just make sure it's straight, and the little tassels on the end on each side, I just snip those off with my craft scissors. But of course you don't have to trim them if you don't want to. I only trim mine thinking it will fit better into an envelope. So of course with this card I wanted to express a little bit of love, but one thing I did realise and have come to realise that I don't have any heart dies. believe it or not. So I had to get my Lawn Fawn Scalloped Box Card pop-up die to have those 3 little hearts to finish off the design that I wanted to create. So using those little heart dies, I die cut 5 hearts out of Lawn Fawn Guava cardstock and also 5 hearts out of the Lawn Fawn Mermaid cardstock. Then I use my Lawn Fawn Small Dotted Circle stackables using the smallest little round die, and I die cut 5 circles in the Lawn Fawn Guava cardstock and also 5 circles in the Lawn Fawn Ballet Slippers cardstock. Now I seriously need to get myself some better adhesive. This adhesive bottle is driving me absolutely insane. Anyway, I used my grippy tweezer tool, well that's what I call it, and I adhered all the circles in place, making sure that they were across the panel in alternate colours and that they were evenly spread apart. Then I adhered the little hearts accordingly. So I put the Guava cardstock onto the Ballet Slipper circles and the Mermaid cardstock onto the Guava circles, and then I just positioned them to make sure that they were centered properly. And to give it a little bit of sparkle, I used some Wink of Stella clear glitter marker. Excuse the glue on my finger, comes with the trade unfortunately, as you probably would know yourself being a paper crafter. Anyway, this card was a great way to use up some paper scraps, and I thoroughly encourage you to go through your craft collection and see what papers you've got that you could use to make a Mother's Day card this year for your mum. Don't forget, you can also use your scrap papers to create any type of theme card for any type of occasion. So get your scrap papers out, bundle them together and see what you can come up with. Maybe you could also try the same sort of style, but having the paper strips going diagonally. That'd be something different. Just have fun with it. So here's my finished card. Pretty simple, I like it, but I love that I use my paper scraps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, as I'd love you to be part of my little YouTube community. And of course, as always, you'll find the supply links in the description below. Plus, I'll have a question for you in the comments. So go down, check it out. I'd love to hear your answer. Now here are 2 other videos you may like to watch and may inspire you a little bit. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fun and creative day. Bye.